Hi guys, so I'm just going to talk about England now. Where are they at after the autumn internationals? Well, basically they're in a lot better place than they were. They've returned to the English style, the very direct style, set-piece kicking game, very simple phases. And what you've noticed from compared to the summer, England have clumped their runners together. They had a lot more support in set play. And they're only really going to single runners when they start to make headway, get over the gain line. So it's a lot less disparate, it's a lot more latches on, it's a lot more controlled. It's a bit more obvious. I mean, the way they used Tio in the last game against Australia was straight up basically, and Tuolangi. But then they'll start to wind that out a bit as they make progress. But anyway, having a look at how the team is set up now. At Loosehead we had Moon, who was the big winner there. I can't really see Genge getting in above him because his set piece isn't as good as Moon's. That's what he's going to have to get improve on. Sinclair's improved on his set piece, which is why I think he's risen to the top of the tight heads, the tight head stocks there. But I think Mako's still going to be top of the loose heads. And will we see Marler return for the World Cup? Could they persuade him to come back? I'm not sure Hepburn's quite got the physicality for, international rugby. He's a good player. But I still think Mako, Moon, Marler maybe as the three for the World Cup could be the way to go. So I mentioned Sinclair as top of the tight heads and Williams in at second, and maybe we'll see Cole come back for the World Cup as well. He's playing alright for Leicester. Hartley and George is still very finely balanced. George only probably started that Australia game because they wanted to start with the quicker players and finish with a more solid player in the front row. So I don't know who the top man is there. I'd probably still go George at a push just because he had such a good game against Australia, but that could easily change. In the second row, Itoje and Laws were great in the autumn internationals. They're the most athletic, probably the most talented of the bunch. Launchbury's a big lump, very solid, very reliable, and Cruz is your line-out expert. So it's kind of whatever you want from the mix of those four for me. The rest I don't think quite are up to the standard of those four, but I think Itoje Laws is probably the best pairing at the moment. At 6, we've had Shields come out, enhance his reputation after the autumn internationals, but I still think he's playing in the way he doesn't want to play. To me, he looks like he wants to play loose, he wants to offload, he wants to get wide, and he's been made to play tight and do those things, which he's done pretty well. What he's got going for him is he's a good line-out forward. Probably the best out of him are Wilson and Robshaw, who are the other two I think are in the running. But, Wilson and Robshaw probably play the more naturally hard English game, being English. So I think they've got a big chance of being the number 6 as well. I don't know who the starter of this lot is. Possibly Wilson, possibly Robshaw. Could it come down to the line-out and go to Shields? Comment and let me know. At 7, you're still relying on the youngsters here, Underhill and Curry. Hopefully Curry will be back for the Six Nations, so you can have both of them. But it's probably horses for courses, whatever you want. The big tackling, more stocky Underhill, or the slightly quicker, more all-round the park Curry. At number 8, it's easy. It's going to be Billy all day long. Nathan Hughes is good to see him back. He looks fit. He looks, athletic. But boy, does he carry high. Even when he came on against Australia, the first thing he did was carry high and nearly get held up. You saw him get smashed by Faf de Klerk. It's his big problem. He's got to sort it. I don't know if he will because he's a bit too old and it's ingrained. Anyway. Wilson's there as a backup number 8, which is a good option. Maybe Mercer as well, but Billy all day long. At 9, Youngs and Kerr. Has to be Young starting, we've seen. Kerr's had a number of starts this year and never made it stick. He wants to play fast and loose. That's not how England are going to play. So either Young starting or probably Wigglesworth starting. Kerr's got his place on the bench, I think, but Young's or Wigglesworth to start for me. At 10, Farrell's the man, clearly. Hopefully he learns how to tackle properly. And then Ford as the backup. Maybe Cipriani if they think his attitude's good enough and not going to muck up the camp. But then, of course, you've got Marcus Smith playing really well at Quins. What a talent he is. He may sneak into the World Cup team. Wider squad even. On the wings, May, Daly, Ashton, Cokanasiga, Noel and Watson, if he comes back fit, are all in the mix. And you can't really look past May and Cokanasiga at the moment if Daly's starting at fullback. because the Cokanasiga just brings that balance of the big runner you can use in midfield, and it just really scares the opposition. If you play a different fullback, then Daly's going to play on the wing, so I think Cokanasiga would drop out. But you know, at the moment I see Daly playing at fullback. You've got Brown, who's a really good backup, and Watson again, if he gets back fit, well, was in the mix for that. At 13, I don't think Slade's done enough to hold down 13. If Jonathan Joseph comes back fit, Tuolangi's an option there as well, and I think Joe Marchant's a great option from Quins as well. So I'm going for JJ there as the option. At 12 is Tio for me. He hasn't done anything wrong, I wouldn't say spectacular. Tuolangi prefers to play 13, but you could play him 12 if he stays fit. And then my bolter there is Williams from Newcastle. I think he's a really good young 12 who could play that Tio sort of role. So, you know, have a look at him, have a look at the clips of him, see if you agree with me. Anyway, England are in a good place. If they keep it English, if they keep it direct, if they keep it strong, they could beat anyone. And it's the sort of game plan that could win when you're playing poorly, in the wet. In the dry, they might struggle a little bit because they do defend narrow. And teams like Australia try to go over the top of them with some success. Scotland last year tore them apart. England do defend narrow. People will spot that. They'll try and exploit it in dry weather. Anyway, that's where I think England are at. They're not above Wales and Ireland at the moment, but after the Six Nations that could change. Anyway, let me know what you think. And just as with my last video, if you want to get involved in the 3K Q&A, chuck a big Q at the beginning of your comment and put the question and get yourself involved in that 3K Q&A. I'll try and answer it. And if you are feeling kind and you've got any international shirts you want to donate to the channel for the background, then email rugbyanalyst@mail.com. That would be really kind of you. Anyway, until next time guys, I will see you then.